welcome everybody back to the channel. Sorry there hasn't been a lot of content other than the shorts, but life is just lovely and busy at the moment. Anybody that knows me knows I do a bit of fishing, so that's where we've been. So why did this deep clean break me, or nearly break me? Well, it was hard work, but I've made it as easy as I possibly can. So I wanted to make some changes, and we're just looking here at what used to be my sales flight. It's going to be a sort of multi-purpose flight now, because I wanted to hold the babies back from going into the big flight a little bit longer. So I took all the panels down and I've tiled the bottom of it, which is going to make cleaning so much easier. And then I wanted to get rid of the horrible bit of board at the end. And put another wire piece on there which came from a different aviary. And yeah, so, and what I always say is if I make something easy to do, I will do it properly. And now this will be even easier. I take the sort of 2 or 3 panels down. I can then wash the base, jet wash the panels, and away we go. So let's have a look at what I've used in a little bit more detail. This Safe 4 is basically my go-to disinfectant now for general use. This actually replaces my poultry shield that was getting very expensive, and I was finding it quite corrosive. I don't know if anybody else has sort of seen it. I knew it was quite a harsh chemical because at the end of the day it's got to kill the mite off, but after now using Exalt, which I'm going to cover on another possible video, I've not seen any mite of any description, so I've basically swapped over. This gets used for disinfecting the bowls. I don't use it for my drinkers. I use the tablets form of Milton's, fairly cheap from Tesco's. I just chuck all that in a bucket, so I have done a video on that. So next on the list is the Virkon S. Now I've changed from F10 this year to Virkon S. There's a saying, ring the changes, and I don't like to use things for too long. I believe that certain bugs and things can build up immunity to things or resistance, a bit like we've seen with the ivermectin, to be honest, and the red mite. So yeah, I've gone back to Virkon. I used this just after I had the French malt problem years ago, and yeah, it can also stain and mark your aluminium flights, but I don't see a major problem with it. And like I say, I might go back to F10 in a few years' time to again ring the changes. There might be something else on the market. And we'll just see how we go, but I like this stuff, and it's easy to use. Mix it up in the sprayer and away we go. So this is the little flight all finished and put back together. I did that first because I needed somewhere to move some birds, which we'll see in a minute. So you can just about see the tiles there, and all the panels and everything back on, and we wouldn't be without the statutory Neil Corley cable tie. I'll tidy that up as time goes by. I need to find some little metal brackets and some new screws, but cable ties save a lot of time and effort. So yeah. First job was to move the birds along a bit so they went into one flight, and we stripped out the first of the big flights, scraped all the tiles off, washed them out, and this was sort of when I'd done one side, moved them across. But it was really easy, you just scraped and hoovered. I had obviously my dust mask on, and it came up easily, and then I could wash everything down. If you've got this far in the video, can't thank you enough, because this is a basic video, but this has come from people asking questions on Facebook and Messenger, which is very busy at the moment. And jet washing, simple. Just get it out in the garden, on the driveway, whatever, and blast the hell out of it. All those cracks that are got full of feathers and dust and everything, just blast them out. There should be very little poo. I mean, mine, you get some staining. These are probably 10 years old now. So there is some staining in that, but overall, I can make them look pretty good. And if they need a scrub, scrub them. But what I don't do, I don't disinfect them at this particular moment in time. This is literally just to get the dirt, the grime, the feathers, the poo off. Once they're clean, this is where the disinfectant now comes into it. Swapped over to the Virkon S, obviously, as I mentioned, and before they go back in that shed, they get a dosing. It'll literally be running down them, absolutely soaked in it, and they go back in wet. I don't let them dry. I don't want anything else on them. They go back in wet, and then they can dry when they're in situ, which then soaks into any cracks in the wood and all the usual things. It's just the way that I've found works for me. Now, one thing I haven't said is when they go back up on to the bases and everything, I actually, just one line of extra defense that I've done for a long time is I put Domestos earth actually underneath the crack, and this is just a little picture of just a line of Domestos earth, and then I put the wet panel straight up on top of that, and it just gives another line of defense on somewhere that I don't see and get to regularly. That's key to it. Big flights are all back together now, and anybody observant will notice that that second flight has actually increased in size, and that's what I wanted to gain by making the other flight multi-purpose. I realised that that other small flight was sat empty sometimes, so that is now going to be the baby flight once they are molted, sort of started to molt through, and I can see that they're nice and strong, feeding well. But all the rest of the time, out of the weaning cages and that, they will go in that small multi-purpose flight. Just gives them, I just want them to have plenty of room. I'm going to alter the perches along the way and add some more enrichment stuff. I cut a lot of hazel, as you probably know. So yeah, so give them something to do. While all of that's going on, all of the perches and bits of wood I use just to within the flights are all being soaked in the safe for pets disinfectant, and they're just scrubbed with an inch of their life. If I need to replace any that are chewed or really horribly mucky, then I will do, just chuck them out. It's cheap enough. But it just keeps everything really clean. They get done once a fortnight as a standard anyway, but this is their proper, literally chuck them in the sink. Every time I walk past them, I chuck a bit more disinfectant over the top and just make sure they're really well soaked and clean. Day 2, and we are on to the cages. First job is obviously split the, or take all the nuts and bolts and everything off that I use, and then literally just strip everything out. I take all the cages out, they go out in the garden. Nest boxes are just stacked to one side for now. That will be part of an evening session where I'll soak them, scrub them so they're clean, and then they'll be disinfected and again hung up wet. I'll take all of those partitions down. They're all jet washed. I am considering not putting those back up this year, but I'll see how I go. I'm just I put a lot of my problems in the past, as you'll see in the humidity one, so I'm just wondering whether it might be time. I like the openness of the wire cages, and I do feel that they sometimes restrict that colony feeling that the birds get. So yep, so everything's stripped out. Once the walls are scrubbed, I will go through and spray Virkon S all over those areas that I've now scrubbed clean. And if I think it needs it, I'll go over it with the brush again. But this particular time, it was nice. I'd done the job properly first time. So I just let it all run down the walls. And then I just basically clean up the floor a little bit because I usually got plenty of puddles. Get it all up off the floor. And I move on to the next stage of jet washing the cages. Once jet washed and clean as best I can, I spray each one with Virkon S, as we've been talking about, and it is really a good soak. And yes, I do leave the perches in. They go through this cycle. The perches will come out again prior to pairing up and be washed and scrubbed again. I like to make sure the perches are really clean, and again, any that need replacing get replaced. Once they're sprayed, obviously I'm bringing them back in wet, and it's just a case of rehanging them on their brackets. And what I will do then is, again, once the nest boxes are clean and ready to go back, I will put all my screw blocks and everything, and all I do is I put a single cupboard block at the back and a single cupboard block on the nest box. It just locks everything in. You've probably noticed I live on a railway line, and things do move and shake. And yeah, so it was really just a simple job that it doesn't have to take long. I haven't got to paint all of this. I haven't got cracks and things to worry about. And they really do just go straight back up, locked into place, and away we go. So we'll have a quick walk round. And yeah, it didn't stay clean for very long.